Boom, we're in. This is John Altman. I'm Chris Grimes. I'm just pressing the button on Instagram, which always snags a bit and doesn't become a live link until it's too late, which means we're doing a false start. I'm still waiting for it to respond. Come on, button. Go live. I keep pressing this thing, wanting it to go live. So it should be, yes, it's responding. Oh. Boom. Hurrah. So that gives us rather unimpressively a bit of a false start, Mr. John Altman, but you're very, very welcome to the Good Listening To show. So I'm going to start properly now in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an extremely auspicious halcyon day in the Good Listening To show clearing. It is my absolute delight, joy and privilege to welcome John Altman, who is a music industry colossus. You were introduced to me by Richard Selwyn Barnett, who is known of his own volition, and I agree, the emperor of connections. I recently got introduced to you, and you were a legend from the get-go because, and I'm about to blow some really happy oxygenated smoke at you, you've actually arranged all of the music historically that Monty Python did. So you go way back when to being the arranger of the Monty Python music, including, and I must say a little bit of we came out when I realized this, Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, which you arranged with Eric Idle. So you were already a legend. And then when I met you and then you said yes to being in the show, I went away. And then when I went to Wikipedia, a little bit more we came out because I was just astounded at what a colossus you are. I will let you speak in a minute. But you were the Hot Chocolate musical director. You've worked with Fleetwood Mac, Van Morrison, Rod Stewart, and on saxophone with Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley. The list goes on and on and on. And even on your LinkedIn profile that I will invite people to look at your QR code about further down the line, you're actually there in your banner picture playing the saxophone. And on saxophone is you, but you've got Amy Winehouse there, who I have since learned you helped break into the music industry. So, John Altman, that's the end of the rather frenetic, happy smoke being blown at you, but I'm very, very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very pleased to be here, but I think you've said it all. I can't.
Yeah, that's not the end. We do have time for more.
Oh, okay.
And of course, your connection to Monty Python was really, really exciting because they are my absolute favorites. And Michael Palin is my all-time comic living hero. Stan Laurel back in the day. Had I ever had the privilege to meet him, I'd have loved to have done that too. But I love the fact that you're, if I may say, besties with Sir Michael Palin as well. So it's really exciting to have you here.
Well, I mean, I think I mentioned to you as well, I was very friendly with Stan Laurel's daughter, which is reasonably close.
Lois Laurel, yes.
Yes, which was wonderful, actually. She was lovely.
Yes. And just looking at your background as well, just before I get you on the open road and curate you through, which is going to be my deep delight through the structure of the Good Listening To show, which I'll contextualize in a second. Just behind you, you've got many, well, they look like they're silver, gold, platinum discs on the wall. Would you like to just talk us through where you're sat today, Joltman? I know
I'm in my study. I mean, I'm at my desk, which conveniently faces the wall of shame.
Well, the wall of glory, more like.
Well, yes. And I mean, I'm very lucky that a lot of the record work I did and some of the film work, obviously, was so popular.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I mean, honestly, I will show everyone the Wikipedia page at the end as well. But if you Google John Altman, that's where you go. But also, you do have a namesake, John Altman, who was Nick Cotton in EastEnders. So,
indeed. Well, I always say I was John Altman before he was.
You were, because he was called John Clarkson Stewart, and I think he must have Wikipedia'd you and then changed his name, probably.
He told me. I mean, we've been friends for over 35 years, actually. But he told me that when he joined Equity, there was he had to change his name because there was a John Stewart in Equity.
Yeah.
And he was a fan of Robert Altman, the director. So he thought, I'll call myself John Altman. And the funny thing was that having done that, we found we were working on things together. And I couldn't, when I appeared in Hear My Song, the movie, I couldn't be John Altman because he already was.
So much for that. Be yourself because everyone else is taken. There's two of you, and you're both taken.
Exactly. So I had to be my full name with my middle names, which was quite nice. So in Equity, not that I can act or have ever tried to act ever again.
Yeah.
I have a four-handled name, which is, I like to think possibly why I never get recast, because they can't get through the whole name.
And in fact, on Wikipedia, it doesn't say what your middle names are. I know you were born on the 5th of December, 1949, but for a million points, no extra cash attached. But what are your middle names, please, John?
Well, they're quite interesting, I guess. They are Neville Rufus. I'm not sure where Rufus came from. I thought that was what you called a dog, but well, maybe
Neville
I am.
Rufus. I like that. So is that a family name within the Altman squad?
The initials are JNR, which is very handy because I'm junior, But
Yes.
At school, I sat next to a Jonathan Trevor Rufus, which was very interesting. We're still friends as well.
Jonathan Trevor Rufus, did you say?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there was a Neville Rufus and a Jonathan Trevor Rufus, side by side.
And I've just heard something quirky. Apparently, a really good password. Old people technology, we can never remember passwords. Apparently, it's one of your middle names, and where you were first, where you first lived, is a really good sort of password if you can't think of anything.
Oh, right.
So there's a bit of a test there. No, we won't. We're not here to give away passwords. What we are here to do. What I'm delighted to say is you've given me permission to curate you through what's called a Legacy Life Reflections. As you rather comically said about 20 minutes ago, you were given a Lifetime Achievement Award about 19 years ago.
I was in 2006, which is slightly worrying because when you get a Lifetime Achievement Award, you actually think, right, that's it, out to pasture, goodbye. So I'm pretty pleased that 19 years later, I'm still here.
And I'm very pleased too. So now it's my great delight and joy to curate you through the Good Listening To show. If you've not seen the show before, not you, John, this is for our audience. This is the show in which I invite movers, makers, shakers, mavericks, influencers, and also personal heroes into a clearing or serious happy place of my guest choosing as they all share with us their stories of distinction and genius. And we're doing a Legacy Life Reflections special series strand today, which is to curate my guests through a journey where we record a story for posterity because it's a rich story and a glorious career that you have had. So any questions before we get you on the open road of the structure, John?
No, let's go for it. And being not primarily, being certainly part of my life, being a jazz musician, I love to improvise. So wherever it goes, I'm happy to go there.
Let's jazz and riff on together, which is fantastic. So also thank you for saying that we're also going to texture in some music as we go, because why? Of course we should, because of your legacy of wonderful music curation. And we're going to end, and I can't thank you enough. The last track we will texture in is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life.
With my whistle. Yes. It's very nice.
So on the track, yes, we'll get onto that, but you actually whistle in your whistle.
Yes, I'm the one that I can hear.
Love that. And how's your whistling nowadays? Because our lips, as we get older, do thin out a bit, don't they?
They do, don't they? I mean, it's sporadic. Sometimes it sounds wonderful, and sometimes when it's on demand, it's terrible.
Can you burp on demand as well?
People look at you and think, well, how could you have whistled on that? But believe it or not, at one time I whistled the ITV weather forecast music.
Go you!
And for about a year. They asked me to write something for the logo, and they wanted it sort of jolly and happy. And the reference track was the thing I did in Hear My Song, which I also whistled.
And did John Altman come back to you about trying to whistle the EastEnders theme tune, or did that never happen?
No, that never happened. we have done gigs together in the past.
Okay.
And they've always been billed as John Altman presents John Altman, but we never say which one is presenting which one.
Yes, I think if you're not exactly twins if you put yourself next to each other, so I think we can differentiate.
No, I mean I put a wonderful band together for the 50th anniversary of my university, and it was my throwback to my university days. I would have an all-star band always at the festivals, and these would include people like Peter Green and John Martin and I mean, high-end people. So I put together this band with Paul Jones and Manfred Mann and all kinds of wonderful musicians. And it was John Altman's All Stars. And I got the other John Altman to come down and walk on stage when they announced the All Stars. I think it raised a laugh. I think half the people there had never seen television, so they weren't really aware of the joke. But he came on, and then I came on. It was fun.
And just my last riff on Whistle While You Work. I know you're not quite old enough to have done Whistle While You Work, which was the Snow White Disney version.
No, I have played it with my jazz group, though.
Boom. This is going to keep on giving. So it's now my pleasure to curate you through the structure. There's going to be a clearing, a tree, a lovely juicy storytelling exercise called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's going to be some alchemy, some gold, a couple of random squirrels, a cheeky bit of Shakespeare, a golden baton, and a cake. So it's all to play for. So energetically, first of all, it's all set within a clearing. So John Altman, composer, musician, arranger, saxophonist, colossus of the music industry. What is a clearing for you? Where would you say your serious, happy place is?
Probably Brighton or Epping Forest, I guess. Both of which are very close to me and mean a lot to me. I went to university in Brighton, and I've kept my links there for over 50 years. And I'm surrounded by Epping Forest, so what could be better?
I'm about to arrive with a tree either on Brighton seafront or in Epping Forest. Of the two, it's up to you. I've got an instinct where a tree would most belong and fit. The clue's in the title of the forest, but we don't have to do that. So where would you like me to arrive, a bit Waiting for Godot-esque existentially, with a tree?
Yes, I mean Epping Forest, obviously, I think. Funnily enough, I met a friend in Brighton the other day who was complaining that there are no trees anywhere in sight along the seafront. So it might have been a nice idea to stick one in there. I don't know, rather than some of the strange things that they put on the Brighton seafront. But
and I know that Sherwood Forest has a reputation of being fairly pants nowadays. There's not so much of foliage that you can hide Robin Hood and his squad in. How's Epping Forest doing?
It's much the same. It's much the same as it was when Queen Elizabeth galloped through here to a hunting lodge. So, yeah, it's lovely.
Oh, now I've got wonderful horses' hooves galloping through Epping Forest as I arrive with a tree in Epping Forest. Thank you for choosing that as your clearing. And now I shake your tree to see which storytelling apples fall out. How'd you like these apples? And now you're going to interpret 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've had 5 minutes, John Altman, to have thought about 4 things that have shaped you, 3 things that inspire you, 2 things that never fail to grab your attention, and that's where the film Up inspires. Oh, squirrels! You know, what are your monsters of distraction? And then the 1 is a quirky or unusual fact about you we couldn't possibly know about you until you tell us. It's not a memory test. I'm just laying out the stall. So could you please now interpret the shaking of the canopy of your tree as you see fit?
Well, I mean, so many things have shaped me. Obviously my family, who are all very, very well-known musicians. So I basically grew up in a house where family friends were people like Judy Garland and Carmen Miranda and Frank Sinatra and Jack Benny and Bob Hope and Danny Kaye.
Sorry, I'm just winding my mouth back up again. Yes.
Well, these were the people. One of my youngest uncle was the conductor at the London Palladium when I was born, and for the first few years. And as far as I knew, this is what people had. They had Danny Kaye coming round and sitting in the front room, or Jack Benny coming round, and he used to put black boot polish on his bald patch.
Who did? Jack Benny did?
Jack Benny, yes. And he would lean back against the antimacassars that were a feature of 1940s Britain. and my mother would go mad because the black boot polish wouldn't come off in the wash.
The Watty Macasters, the Hoogie what?
The antimacassars, the white things that used to be on the back of sofas.
Ah, wow, gosh, I've not
Yeah.
heard that. Yes, just say it one more time. I'm reincorporating deliberately there. A Watty Macaster. Antimacaster.
Yes, it's seems to have gone out of fashion very much.
Not least because your mum was always moaning about Jack Benny.
Jack Benny and his bald patch, yes.
And this is Wolf and Sid Phillips you're talking about, isn't it, as the conductor?
Wolf Phillips was the conductor at the Palladium.
Yeah.
And Sid was the band leader, clarinetist.
Yes.
And there were two other brothers as well. And one was a trumpet player, one was a bass player, banjo player. But they weren't as, central in the music business as the other two.
Yes. Your video seems to have stuck. Can you still see and hear me coming through all right?
I hear you. You are stuck as well.
Very interesting. I'm just wondering what to do about this. I can still hear you all right, and the soundscape is the most important thing. My editor, Dan, will know exactly what to do at this point in terms of whether the important thing is the sound. I can still see myself moving. Are you moving as well?
Not at the moment. I was a few minutes ago, and then it stopped again.
Because I think if I end stream and start the stream again, it might. I mean, I can still do that because yes, you have snagged. So we're just going with the quirks.
Yeah, I can see it sort of vibrating on one side.
Let me end the stream and start the stream. Should we do that?
Okay.
So I'm hoping that, for heaven's sake, Restream back us up on this one. So I'm going to end the stream.